This episode of Tekzilla is sponsored by Squarespace, Netflix, and the United States Air Force. Coming up on today's show, quad-core or the new Intel Core i7 processor, the truth, the evil truth behind Vista's Experience Index, dare you to buy a refurbished PC, iPod, or other product, and a ton of your viewer questions. So drop that leftover turkey sandwich and dodge the food coma, because Tekzilla starts now. Welcome to Tekzilla. I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Veronica Belmont.
You went on like the airplane to nowhere this weekend.
Yeah, you could say that. Virgin America invited some people on board to test out the new GoGo in-flight wireless service. Roger and I went up there and we actually talked to Jack Blumenstein, who's the CEO of Aircell, who's setting up the service for Virgin America. Take a look. We're here now with Jack from Aircell, and tell me about some of the technical challenges you guys had to overcome to bring Wi-Fi to Virgin America.
Well, the easy part is that we're using all the same technology that's in the latest 3G networks on the ground. The hard part is we're doing it at 35,000 feet and 500 miles an hour. And there's a lot of technology involved in that has to do with the link between the plane here. But really, the principle's simple. You're sitting in a hotspot, just as you do on the ground, and we're taking a lot of magic and shooting that down to the ground at high speed so that you've got internet, email, all the things that you want to do.
And why go with Virgin America? What was the choice behind that?
Well, Virgin America was the second airline that signed with us. They have been on top of this from day one. They designed this whole aircraft, including the red seat back, to be interactive, to be ready for the internet when it got here. And they have tremendous plans for what they're going to do over time. They were also the first airline that said we want it on every plane, every flight, every day, and that's what we're in the middle of doing with them.
So it's not just going to be GoGo over your laptop. You'll also be able to access the internet from the control panel.
Your laptop, your iPhone, your iPod Touch, those are two favorites, by the way, already. As well as you can do some interactive things, although not full internet, over the red system. So your choice. Do what you want, get the content you want, have the entertainment or do the work you want on whatever device you want. That's what we want to have happen.
So what kind of upload and download speeds are we looking at here?
We're a state-of-the-art 3G mobile wireless. What that means is you feel like, and if you ask the people around you, I think they'll tell you they feel like they're sitting at home, just working off of a Wi-Fi link in their house, or they feel the same as if they're at a Starbucks or a hotel. A very similar kind of high-speed broadband internet experience.
So something typical of what you'd see on the ground, pretty much.
Typical of what you'd see on the ground, yeah.
Excellent. And what kind of rollout are we looking at?
On Virgin, this flight here, of course, today is their first plane. They're adding about a plane a week between now and the spring until they finish their entire fleet. And from an Aircell perspective, we're thrilled and delighted that on top of that, of course, we're on American. We're moving on to Delta. We got a few more announcements stored up that you'll be hearing from us here soon.
So do I have to worry about people making Skype calls while I'm sitting next to them on an airplane and yakking on the phone for the entire 5-hour trip to New York?
No.
No?
The short answer is no. The short answer is the airlines have asked us to block VoIP calling.
Interesting.
And we do that. Now, you're from Silicon Valley. You know it's a never-ending challenge. Somebody gets a bright idea about how to get around it. We hear about that. We go figure out what they did and block that. But for the average person on almost all flights, there'll be no voice allowed. That's the goal, is to have it be a Wi-Fi, internet activity, no voice involved.
Some people might see that as a downside. I personally see that as a big thumbs up.
Good.
Big time thumbs up. I like my peace and quiet when I'm on the airplane.
Good. Glad to hear that.
Thank you so much for talking with us today.
Nice talking with you.
Yeah, so the pricing isn't too bad either. For flights over 3 hours, it's $12.95, and for flights 3 hours and under, it's $9.95. So that's less than checking an extra bag at the airport.
Yeah, I paid $15 to check a bag. The person across the aisle from me was paying $7 to get a beer on the flight this weekend.
Oh man, so $7. Yeah, that's not too bad for a beer on an airplane. I've seen more.
$12.95 to run BitTorrent while you're flying. Although you're going to get like 1/57,000th of a video probably.
No, you can use BitTorrent actually. Ryan Block over at Engadget tested it, and Brian Lamb did some iChat stuff on the plane for Gizmodo. Yeah, so you can do pretty much almost anything. You can't do Skype calls, which I talked to Jack about also, which I'm very excited about actually.
You can't do Skype calls?
You can't do Skype calls. They block the port. And I'm happy about that, because do you really want to be sitting on a 5-hour flight with the guy sitting in the seat next to you blabbering on his cell phone, on his Skype sell.
I had the person, I mean, I had a bouncing baby in my lap, so
Yeah,
obviously.
but one more thing to have to think about. I mean,
I was just thinking
come
about the guy
on.
in front of me who was in a deep-seated business conversation with the guy next to him for the entire flight.
Okay,
The things I
well,
could
that's not
tell you
that bad.
about pre-folded box cutters.
That's awesome.
Seriously, but back on solid ground, we had a few more suggestions about social networking applications that aggregate
Right.
all of your stuff, your Pounce, your Plurk, your Haiku, your Twitter, your
Friend feeds, your bloggins, your internetings.
MySpace, Facebook. You're getting the concept of taking all of these things and put them in one place. As many of you pointed out, it was Social Thing that I was trying to think of last week. Have they been bought by AOL?
Yes, they were actually just bought by
It's
AOL.
the Web 2.0 dream to be
Yes.
bought out by like Yahoo, AOL, or
They weren't even out that
Hosanna's
long
Google.
either. I mean, they're less than a year old. And those
Congratulations
guys
to
over there are
Social
really
Thing.
cool. Those are good guys that started that service. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see where they take it with AOL.
It's not a standalone app, though. It does run in a browser.
It does run in a browser, correct. And then there's another one, Digsby, that a lot of people wrote in about, which is actually a program, not a web client, that acts as a IM client, so you can do all your stuff that you kind of do like an ADM. You can combine a bunch of different social messaging services. Social messaging, did I make that up just now? And plus it
that.
has all your regular networking stuff that you can add in there as well. But unfortunately, they don't have a Linux or Mac client yet. So just for PC on Digsby right now. Sad-faced.
There is one for OS 10 too. It's called Event Box. Not free though. It'll run you about $15 during the beta. I know. You don't want to pay $15.
Yeah.
Deal with it.
Hey, I know something that'll cheer people up.
What's that?
My new tea.
Do you get a cut off of every can of this sold?
No, I wish. Wouldn't that be awesome?
That would be awesome.
Actually, probably wouldn't make. We're not selling millions of them or anything, so it probably wouldn't make too much of a big difference. Veronica's Berry Zinger. It's got Earl Grey in it. It's got cream and berries. So cream, berries, and Earl Grey. Earl Grey is my favorite black tea.
Yeah, it is like
No,
oatmeal.
Roger, it's not like oatmeal.
No, it is like oatmeal.
I guess it kind
It's
of
oatmeal
smells a
with
little
tea.
bit like a delicious oatmeal that you could have. It's made by
Anyhow.
Adagio, and you can buy it by going over to adagio.com and checking up on all the Revision 3 stuff we've got on there. They still have some Dignation blends. It's adagio.com/Tekzilla. They've got all the old Pop Siren ones and Dignation and now ours, and you need to make one next.
We'll work on that. I, however, next want to answer some
buy it.
questions right now.
Buy my tea!
First one comes from a man who wants to buy a refurbished PC. What does Curtis write in and say?
Curtis writes, I am in need of a new computer. Mine has weeks left to live. I am on a very tight budget and was wondering how you feel about buying a refurbished PC from Tiger Direct. From Curtis.
I love refurbished products. I buy refurbished products all the time.
Do you?
Yeah, actually, I've bought refurbished iPods, Dell computers, Dell monitors.
Usually if they come from the
Printers.
manufacturer, I mean, they put them through pretty rigorous testing before they send them back out into the world.
Right. Well, the idea is a refurbished product. It's coming from the manufacturer. The manufacturer basically says, we've made sure it's up to snuff as if it was leaving the factory for the first time. Go forth and enjoy it. And they usually give you a pretty healthy discount, which is a lot cooler in a lot of cases than an open box product, which is usually at the retailer. And it's something where somebody returned it and parts are missing, or it was the demo off of the shelf, or maybe they can't return it to the manufacturer because the manufacturer's gone or something like that. And the only time I've been burned is like doing an open box. But the nice thing is if you make sure before you buy it, if it's still covered by the factory warranty, it's just as good as buying a new product. You just want to make sure the discounts are healthy enough to warrant buying refurbished over the regular.
So where does Tiger Direct fall between that manufacturer and retailer thing? I mean, they're a retailer, a reseller,
Right, but they
right?
also basically assemble components for PCs, or they basically brand, PCs with their name. So they should be considered basically a vendor. I would say you should be okay with that one. And man, the PCs are so cheap. Just shop around. I always say to do that because people are like, just look at Dell, look at HP, look at Gateway, look at Tiger PC, look at Newegg, but just basically shop around to make sure you're getting the best possible deal. Because sometimes you look at a refurbished product and maybe you're only saving, like the worst is when you buy a refurbished model XD40000C, which is like $200 off the original price, and then you realize that that's a 6-month-old model and you can get a bunch of faster parts for like the same amount of money because everything dropped in price. Just make sure it's covered by the same factory warranty. Double check to make sure there's not newer models that are like basically coming out for the refurbished price, and you should be golden.
Do your research. Well, it's time now to thank one of the sponsors of today's show, Squarespace. And here to tell you a little more about it is our very own Rev3 intern par excellence, Tyler.
Hey, I'm Tyler Howarth, intern here at Revision 3, and I'm here to tell you about Squarespace. Now, I've tried out a few different blogging platforms, but nothing has impressed me as much as Squarespace. It's an all-inclusive platform that features scalable hosting, a super intuitive user interface, and unlimited options for customization. One of the major selling points for me was the WYSIWYG editor that lets you easily customize every little piece of design on the website. Creating a powerful and good-looking website takes only a few minutes, but you also have the option to dive into the CSS code and get your hands dirty. I've gotten plenty of my friends on Squarespace, and they all love it. It is truly a pleasure to use Squarespace. Which is lucky for you guys, because Squarespace wants you to feel the pleasure and joy that I've been talking about. Just use the promo code Tekzilla to get 10% off for the life of your account. So check it out at squarespace.com.
Welcome to this week's freebie download pick, a free program that we find useful, fun, or incredibly interesting. This week's pick, ZipEgg. While there are literally dozens of free unzipping utilities for the PC, when it comes to the Mac, there are maybe a handful at most. Thankfully, there's ZipEgg, which runs on both platforms. It supports not only zip, but also RAR, TAR, 7Z, ISO, and a dozen other archiving formats. ZipEgg allows you to see files inside any archive, and it opens archive files in Preview or any other associated application directly from the archive, and it can display image thumbnails, which is great if you're dealing with an archive filled with photos. Finally, like any good archiver should, ZipEgg supports password protection so locked archives can be opened and created. So if you're looking for a solid functional unzipper in OS X or Windows, you should give ZipEgg a try. All right, time for more viewer questions. Veronica?
Yes, David has a question about virtual CD drives. He writes, I have some programs I want to run on my netbook, but they require a CD-ROM drive. Is there an easy way to create an ISO image, then mount it as a CD-ROM drive using Windows XP?
David, that's an awesome question. What you need is a virtual CD application. Matter of fact, many CD burning applications actually come with virtual CD applications, so you may have one already. They let you mount disk images, also known as CD ISOs, as a virtual CD drive. Basically, it's a pretend CD drive that'll let you run your application straight off of it. Basically, you create a copy of the disk, you put it on your hard drive, and then a piece of software tells the operating system that that is the disk, even though it's a copy of the disk. Nero, alcohol, and 120%. I hate saying that name.
Alcohol, 120%.
See, you can say it.
Oh, I'm getting close. I'm good with alcohol. Issues, though, are if you have copy-protected CDs, so if you're trying to boost games or something, you might not have as much luck, although Alcohol 120, from what we hear on the internet, is pretty good for that kind of stuff. So yes, you can without issues, unless you have copy-protected software, then you're on your own.
Yay.
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 My voice is on its own.
We're both sick.
Sick.
Up next, we got a video question from Tyler.
Woohoo!
Hey there, Patrick and Veronica. Tyler here. I'm going to be doing a lot of HD capture and conversion soon, and I was wondering if I should spend the money on the new i7 processor or get a quad-core instead.
Obviously not intern Tyler, who we have already met earlier in this episode, for those of you who didn't know him already. But what say you about this, the i7 versus the quad-core?
Okay, if you're thinking a new Intel Core i7 versus the top-of-the-line Intel Core 2 Extreme QX9770, if you're into that whole numbers and letters things, the top-of-the-line Intel Core i7 965 will be faster. Actually, it will basically encode the same chunk of video in fewer seconds. Not a huge difference, but it will be faster for a couple of $100 less. This is good, but we're still talking about like $1,000 versus a $1,300 processor. If you're thinking one of the cheaper quad-core processors, i.e. money is an issue for you, you're probably not thinking that the entry-level i7 is a bargain at $299.99, especially since you'll need a $300 socket B motherboard. There's like 10 of them you can buy right now, and there aren't many options out there. Basically, at least not until you look at some video encoding benchmarks and realize that the $300 i7 is benchmarking really well against $500 Core 2 quad processors. The new processors are smoking fast. They're also going to be smoking expensive to set up right now because they use 3 banks of DDR3. It's called triple channel memory, and mid-price chipsets, i.e. the more affordable chipsets, will not be out until probably late spring 2009. But
Damn, Patrick.
Damn.
Damn, Patrick.
The i7 drops the front side bus for the quick path interface. It can process 2 threads per core, so the i7 processors can basically, and all i7 processors are quad core, they can roll 8 threads at once, and it can even mildly overclock itself. This is my favorite part. If the thermals are okay, it'll basically allow you to turn on turbo boost, and it'll overclock itself by like 133 or 266 megahertz. Not a huge overclock, but I just like the idea that Intel is getting this overclock friendly.
And it's definitely one of those things where as we advance in time, developers are going to learn how to write things that are optimized for the processor, and things will just get faster and faster. So do you think it's more of like a future investment? If he spends some money now on the i7 versus staying with the quad core, will that be something that benefits him in the future? Or will within that amount of time there'll be better software that takes advantage? What's the deal?
It depends on whether you're an incremental upgrader or like you basically wipe your old system
all at
on
once.
Yeah. Right now, I'm an incremental upgrader. You know, Roger likes to make fun of me because I build a $500 PC and then a couple years later, like half the parts have been replaced because that's just the way I roll. Roger's
so
like,
funny.
You're gonna buy a big new system and nobody's gonna touch it for another 3 years. If you're buying top of the line, definitely go with a Core i7. If you're in the mid-range, take a look at what it's going to cost you to buy one of those socket B motherboards and 3 chunks of DDR3 memory, and then start thinking about whether or not the price is worth it to you.
I'm usually in the Roger camp.
Yeah.
I like to buy a whole new rig all at once. Although my gaming PC was built by parts, part by parts. That's a little bit different. But by elves, yes, built by elves. Oh, I love them so.
It's amazing what you can get in.
They're wonderful. They're really wonderful. Hey, now if you want to get your 15 seconds of internet fame, send us in a video. All you need to do is record yourself in front of a video camera asking a question no longer than 15 seconds. We've got a lot of interesting ones lately. We have people sending in their dogs asking the questions, their babies asking the questions.
How about you
animated
ask
questions?
The question? Ooh,
you can ask the question too, huh?
Like an animated what?
Well, we have like machinima. Some people are doing machinima stuff, which is pretty funny, or like just drawings of stick figures and then text. That one was not so good. I'm sorry. You tried though, so I give you props for creativity.
Just email them back and thank them for their...
Oh. Well, anyhow, upload those videos to YouTube and email us a link with video question in the subject line, no attachments. Plus, starting right now until next Saturday, December 6th, if you submit a video, you'll be entered into a drawing to win this awesome Microsoft Zune Gears of War 2 120 gigabyte MP3 player. Don't forget to check out the legalese on the site. I don't know why I said that.
Portable media device.
Because I already said Zune in the sentence, and then I ran out of words, and so I said MP3 player.
It does the WMVs, the WMAs, and yeah, it does the MP3s.
All sorts of things. Don't make fun of me. Check out the legalese, and it's only available to U.S. residents 18 and older. Sorry.
Now, if you missed this one, we plan on having more stuff on the giveaway train soon, so keep your eyes and ears open and start recording and sending those video emails because Veronica loves each and every one of them.
And if you don't enter to win, the Locust win. See what happens with that? The Locust will win if you don't try to win this. So do it.
It's time now for our Netflix-sponsored movie pick of the week. This week is Airplane, this 1980 cult classic, and I don't know how culty it is. It's a classic. It's a timeless classic. It was a blockbuster. It's been called the funniest movie of all time by many critics, and while I'm not sure I'd go that far, it definitely makes my top 10. This film focuses on a passenger plane faced with a crisis when the crew falls ill and the next fighter pilot has to conquer his fear of flying to land the plane. If you didn't grow up with the airplane disaster movies in the 70s, it might be a little less funny, but the truth is, watching Leslie Nielsen in his first comedic role is a classic. So if you're sick of the slew of modern spoof movies that have been released recently and you want to see how it should be done, how it was done first and best, then check out Airplane. And don't forget to check out the other 90,000 titles available at Netflix, including lots of Blu-ray titles with free shipping both ways to and from your home. And because we now have over 30 shipping centers in the United States, almost all deliveries happen in a single business day. Netflix plans start at $4.99, but as a new member, you can get a free, no-risk 2-week trial membership from Tekzilla. Check it out at www.netflix.com/Tekzilla. And don't forget to type those wwws in or the URL will not work. Please support Tekzilla by supporting our sponsors.
Looks like it's time for another website we just can't get enough of. A website that we just can't stay away from because it's too useful, too funny, or just too darn irresistible. This week's pick, Silent PC Review. Are you in the market for a new quiet build PC? One that doesn't sound like a B-17 at full speed or run like a vacuum cleaner in the middle of the night when everyone else is trying to get some sleep? Then you need to visit Silent PC Review, a site dedicated to the ins and outs of building your very own whisper quiet PC. From reviews and guides to forum topics on the latest silencing techniques and gear, this site has it all. If you're curious about the quietest PC power supplies or which fan or case works best, check out their reviews on the article section at the bottom. Along with in-depth details about the acoustic performance of various products, reviews are often revised and edited to reflect new information or test results as they become available. Want to discuss the merits of liquid or water cooling your rig? Then bump on over to the forums where you can find hundreds of like-minded individuals searching for the best solution to building that quiet PC. So if you want the lowdown on the best and quietest in PC technology, then bookmark Silent PC Review as a must-read site.
All right, we got an interesting email for you, Veronica. A very interesting email.
Really?
This one comes from Michael in Scotland regarding upgrades. He writes in, the laptop I'm using has a Windows Experience Index score of 4.2 to 4.8 on everything except primary hard disk, which is only 3.0. 3.0! I've heard that the Experience Index can be a bit misleading, but should I be changing my hard drive for performance reasons? My laptop currently has a Fujitsu MHV 2080BH 80 GB 5400 RPM external drive on a notebook. I'm torn between an upgraded RAM going from 2 GB to 3 GB or a new hard drive for Christmas. So your thoughts on which would best improve my laptop's performance would be much appreciated. Michael, we have answers.
Well, yes, upgrading is a great way to extend the life of your notebook. Do you think he really has an external one on there?
He wrote external.
He wrote it. All right.
That's
what you said.
The model number is a 2.5 internal drive. Maybe he has an external case. In any case, any case.
I get it. You're very clever.
Buy myself a Coke.
Anyhow, we'd go on to 3 GB of memory on that notebook, only if you're doing lots of video or photo editing. If you're mainly doing email, web browsing, stuff like that, you're not going to notice another gig of memory, probably. Will you notice a newer, faster hard drive? Well, you'll definitely notice the extra capacity. 320 GB, 7200 RPM, 2.5-inch SATA drives for notebooks will sell for under $100 today, which is really good. Will you notice a performance difference? Maybe. More so if you open or copy lots of files on and off that drive.
The Windows Experience Index score is a strange beast and actually can often be incredibly misleading, especially if you're perfectly satisfied with the way your system is running. In case of the disk score, the Experience Index measures disk bandwidth in megabytes per second. Wonderful thing to measure, but any drive you're running on Vista should at least score 2.0. Ideally, you would do both upgrades if the costs aren't too much for you. But I'm thinking the hard drive is going to be more useful than the memory. It's already got 2 GB.
That's true.
I mean,
that's definitely workable.
Yeah.
For a laptop, too.
But, if you're working with huge photo files, big video editing files, huge audio files, then yeah, I can see where going to 3 GB of memory might be more useful, but
who knows?
Who knows? You gotta tell us what apps you're running.
Yeah, I'm very curious. And now a message from one of our sponsors, the United States Air Force.
Easy. To the left. And recover.
We got another one from the old mailbag about upgrading notebook video cards.
Who are you calling a mailbag? Sorry, just kidding.
You know what? I'm reading this question for my own personal safety. Paul wrote in with this question. I got a recent model Lenovo T61P laptop. He's got the fabulous, I don't know if I'd call it fabulous, 256 megabytes NVIDIA Quadro FX570M graphics card. He wants to upgrade to a 512 megabyte card to enjoy all of the wonderful high-resolution gaming action. I'm really nearly positive I could replace it, at least physically, but would there be any negative side effects that the laptop couldn't handle, such as excess heat? Paul in Vermont. Veronica, go!
Well, by default, most notebook graphics are integrated into the notebook motherboard. As we all know, it's not an easy thing to get a really good laptop that's good for gaming. They make them, but not all of them.
Most T61s are going to fall into that category. Yours sounds like one of the weird workstation models that actually has discrete graphics that are kind of bolted onto the motherboard.
Right. NVIDIA came out with the MXM Mobile PCI Express Module video card form factor for notebooks. It's essentially a compact version of the 16-lane PCI Express slot. Unfortunately, though, only certain notebooks, the larger gaming laptops that we've mentioned earlier, usually sport them. Even then, not all of them are replaceable since there are different MXN revisions. There's MXN 1, 2, 3, and HE. Also, not all BIOS are compatible with replacement modules. Stop that, you're gonna hurt yourself. I need you to host the rest of the show.
No, this is one of those things where it's
I can't do it alone, man.
We've done like 9 different versions of this, and yeah, and the individual vendors can lock it in BIOS, which is why you can't upgrade, say, the little modules that are in place of a lot of Apple's products. Thank you, Apple. Yeah, generally, unless the manufacturer gives you an option or upgrade path to replace the graphics, you're kind of stuck.
Yeah, for that kind of flexibility, you'll need it to pick up a larger, heavy desktop replacement notebook from a vendor like Sega or other non-mainstream brands that deal directly with the actual notebook manufacturer.
It's frustrating. Yeah, and the truth is going from 256 megabytes to 512 megabytes on that particular card that you're mentioning, because there's a whole bunch of different quad-graphics modules. I don't think that doubling the memory is going to help your graphics performance that much, because it's basically an older 3D graphics core inside of that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it'd be like
build a gaming box. That's my solution for everything. I'm stuck on the gaming box because I got back into WoW this week, so I've been playing it nonstop, and I'm like, I'm playing Fallout 3, and I'm playing WoW, and it's great to have my gaming box now because I don't have to fight with Ryan over the Xbox or the PS3.
Unless you have mad cash to throw down, gaming notebooks are expensive and
gaming notebooks
are expensive and outdated really quickly.
I don't know why anyone would want a gaming notebook.
Because it's easier to carry too.
Yeah, but man, they're big honking laptops. Like, they are big old suckers.
Yeah, and they're
and
heavy,
they got all
and the
lights
batteries
and
last
the
like 15 minutes.
flashing things, and the things going off, and the sounds, and the alien heads. And the...
Speaking of alien heads.
Speaking of alien heads?
Our final email is a real fun one for Veronica. It comes from Johnny in Northern Ireland, and he addresses this one specifically and only to you, Veronica. He writes, even though I don't live in the United States and I don't have a prom, or formal as they are known here, coming up, will you please go to the prom with me, Johnny?
Oh, that's so sweet. Yes, I will totally go to your prom with you, but only if you pay for the round-trip airfare and lodging, because that's how I roll, 4-star hotel style. That's not true at all. Not true at all, but that's really cool. I would love to go to Northern Ireland.
I got a better idea.
What?
How about a 30-minute one-on-one video conference with Veronica that benefits charity?
That is a good idea.
Instead
it's almost for the same price, actually.
Well, actually, it may be thousands of dollars by the time you see this.
That's true. There's one more day left in my auction at humanity.com. That's humanety.com. Look for my little thing on the front page, and I'm doing that
really
charity. Really cool cause, Child's Play, which gives gaming consoles and games to sick kids in hospitals all over the country. A lot of people have bid already, and it's really exciting, and thank you guys for helping make this a really good holiday charity auction.
We need to figure out like a Tekzilla thing where people can contribute smaller amounts, because the number that's going for your video conference
that's just one total sum from one person.
Right, which is great, which is awesome, but it would be cool if like people could donate 10 or 20 bucks and we could bring it all together for Child's Play. It's done by the Penny Arcade folks. It's an unbelievably cool charity.
Oh, actually my friend Rodrigo had that idea that we could somehow get people to make smaller donations that would actually probably be way more than the final bidding total from one person could be.
Would be really cool. Actually, a lot of people band together to donate to Child's Play. That would be really awesome. I actually have a question. If anybody knows non-PayPal ways of doing stuff like that, because PayPal is kind of like the accepted standard. I've been frustrated with PayPal in the past, and I'm just always looking for new and exciting ways to not use PayPal.
I feel bad though. I'm always asking people for their money. It was for the AIDS walk, and now for Child's Play. I mean, it's good causes, but I feel like I'm always pandering for people's money.
At least you're doing it for good causes and not because you want a new pair of socks.
And Adagio tea.
Put the can down.
Which does not go to charity.
For all of you watching, we live in your questions, so email us, Tekzilla@revision3.com. Tech help, product reviews, how-tos. You ask us, we'll do it, but we need your emails, so don't be shy. Send them into Tekzilla@revision3.com.
And even better, send us in those video questions. Think of all the fun you can have and the admiration of all your friends and family when they see your mug on the show. Just keep it to 15 seconds, upload to YouTube, and send us a link in an email with video question in the subject line. And as always, you can visit our forums at revision3.com/forum. Oh, and don't forget to check out Hack 5. This week, Shannon decides Super Mario World wasn't good enough and goes tinkering under the hood with the free level editor, Lunar Magic. Then Chris Gerling joins in to talk about ways to gather information from suspect computers using Helix's front end for DD and an open source forensics tool from CMU. If it's good enough for the FBI, it should be good enough for you. And of course, Matt has just the tool to make the life of any sysadmin or other network monkey easier. Hack 5 airs every Wednesday at noon Eastern at revision3.com/hack5. Thanks so much for watching.
I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Veronica Belmont.
Till next time, you've been watching Tekzilla. Cut off Veronica's hand. You bastards. Welcome to Tekzilla. I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Veronica Belmont.
Let's burn this mother to the ground. Sorry, I just had to do that. Just had to get out of my system, Roger.